All right, everyone, welcome to Delegate Like a Boss. I'm your host, Susan Brennan, and today we're joined by Kathryn McKinnon. Kathryn, welcome.
Well, thank you, Susan. I just want to start out by thanking you for inviting me to share some of my ideas and tips on managing time with less stress so you can live a more productive, balanced life.
Love it. Well, we are excited to have you here. I'm going to just tell our audience a little bit about you, and then I'm going to hand it over to you. So, Kathryn McKinnon has been an executive coach since 1992. She's a graduate of Harvard Business School and has 32 years of corporate and entrepreneurial business experience, helping hundreds of women executives and business owners create order out of chaos, love it, to change the way they spend their time so they can have a more productive, balanced life. She's the author of a best-selling book and its category on Amazon, Triple Your Time Today. 72 hours a day. I like the sound of that. She's the show host of Time Management Radio, where she interviews expert guests each week and shares her time management advice and expertise, and is available for executive and corporate coaching. Wow, we've got a lot of ground to cover today with all your expertise, but why don't you go ahead and take it from here. Tell us a little bit more about your world, what you're up to, and how the topics of delegation and time freedom really ring true for you.
I thought I'd start out by telling you how I learned to delegate, because I think delegation is difficult for many people. And I learned to delegate the hard way by making a lot of mistakes with my time. Because throughout my 32-year career in business, I had lots of opportunities to take on a lot of challenges in my work and personal life. And I was reminded time and time again that I only had 24 hours in a day. And so I constantly took on more than I could handle. I took on too much. I tried to do it all myself. And it led to some really stressful situations for me where I simply ran out of time. And so because I chose to do it my way, and there were many times when I didn't reach my goals and I didn't accomplish as much as I wanted with my time. And so that was a lesson for me. And it kept happening over and over again, and I wasn't getting it. I had to learn to give away some control over the process, over decision making. I had to learn to trust myself, and I had to learn to trust others. And that was hard to do. I had to learn that I could trust other people, maybe to get the job done more efficiently, more quickly, more creatively, better than I could do it. Even if it was a different way than I had decided it needed to be done. So because I was a control freak and I was a type A personality, I wanted to control every single detail. And I wanted everything to be perfect. But I learned that there's no such thing as perfection. And I know there are perfectionists out there, because if you're having a hard time delegating.
I know, I'm thinking there's a whole portion of our audience that's the perfectionist sitting here going, there is such thing as perfection. What are you talking about? But take it with a grain of salt.
It's the result you want that's important. It's not whether it's perfect or it's not perfect. Perfection is only a point of view. It's a state of mind. It doesn't exist. There is no such thing as perfectionism. And so, what's perfect to you is not perfect in somebody else's eyes. So you can never be perfect, ever. So it's not even worth going after. It's not worth chasing that. And I had a hard time figuring that out. And I want you to know that perfectionism comes from lots of different places. It comes from habits that we create. It's learned. It comes from our environment. It comes from our relationships with other people. It comes from our mentors and our parents and the government and the church and school. It's just a habit that we create. It's a way we do things, which you can change because you can change your mind. So when you let go of this idea that everything you do has to be perfect and that you have to control everything in your world, when you can trust others to do their job or take on some things that you would normally do, to contribute their point of view, for instance, or their way of doing things, then what happens is you open this door and you allow in this light and this breath of fresh air, and it offers you opportunities for more creativity, for better solutions to problems that maybe you've been struggling with, for more efficient ways of doing things, and more freedom with your time, because you're leveraging your time and you're getting help from other people.
I think that's such a key point, and I think delegation in and of itself is hard for people, but one of the things I've noticed a lot of people struggling with is even just asking for help. Not even necessarily handing a project off to someone or delegating out, but just raising their hand and meekly saying, I think I need help. So what advice do you have for people who are in that spot? They're really struggling with the concept of asking for help or trying to delegate out to someone.
It just takes practice. If you want to learn to delegate, Susan, or if anybody wants to learn to delegate, first you need to understand that as much as you would like to, nobody can do it all, at least not all at the same time.
Right.
Rosebeth Moss Cantor once said that. You can have it all, but maybe just not all at the same time. And it's the same with your time. You can do it all, just maybe not all at the same time. So if you want to accomplish more with your time, you have to be realistic. Some things are just not going to get done. And there are some things that you just won't be able to do all by yourself. You have to be okay with that. And you may have 20 projects on your plate, but you only have so much time to complete them. So don't beat yourself up if you can't get everything done. Or if you have to reprioritize something because you decide you're going to teach someone else how to do a particular task. Or if you want to take some time to be with your family, don't beat yourself up for that. Or don't beat yourself up because you want to spend time on yourself or doing something that you want to do. So figuring out how you can leverage your time will help you feel confident that your accomplishments are enough and that you're getting the most value from your time, even if you have more goals than you want to accomplish. So the question I always ask my coaching clients is this: do you know the value of your time? Because that's where it starts. Do you know how to leverage your time so that you can get the most value from it? Have you ever calculated what your time is worth? So what I like to do is take people through just a simple process where you take an understanding that you can't be productive with, let's say, a $10 an hour job if your time is worth $50. Okay? But you'll never know that unless you actually calculate the value of your time. Okay? Unless you know what it's worth. So let's do that. Let's calculate the value of your time. So you take either your current income or what you would like to make this year, and I'll just take $100,000 as an example because it's easy to do the math. And what you do is you just divide that number by 50 weeks, and that assumes that you take a couple of weeks off for vacation, and that's $2,000 a week. And then what you do with that number is you divide that by 40 hours. And I'm just assuming that you're going to work 40 hours a week. You might work more hours than that, or you might work less, but I'm just going to divide it by 40, assuming that you're productive during those 40 hours, and that's $50 an hour. So $50 is an example of an hourly value for $100,000 worth of gross income a year. And that's how much your time is worth, okay? Now, this helps you see the minimum value of your time as far as your job or your business goes. And the example isn't intended to make you feel good or bad about the dollar amount. It's just intended to help you see that you might have done something today or yesterday or last month that was worth $50 of your time for an hour. Maybe you worked on marketing your business, or you added value to your company, or you brought in a new client. And then you probably, if you look at this example, you might see that there were also things that you probably did that were not worth $50 of your time. In other words, maybe you chose to do something instead of letting somebody else do it. Or let's see, maybe you thought that you could do something more quickly or better than someone else. Or maybe it's just a habit. You're just used to doing things your way because you think you can just get them done. But those activities represent lost opportunities when it comes to the value of how you spent your time. And what happens is leverage means doing more with less. In this case, it's not what you do, it's how you do it. So if you leverage your time, you're allowing yourself to trade your time and work smarter, not harder with your time. So leveraging your time means replacing yourself or what you spend your time on. So if you do too much, or you can't say no, or you don't set appropriate boundaries with your time, or if you don't prioritize, or you try to do everything yourself, or you try to get everything just perfect, or if you believe no one else can do it as well, or as good as you can do it without your help, then you're not leveraging your time. You're actually missing opportunities to accomplish your goals more quickly. And so when you hire somebody to do those little jobs you do, this will just take me a minute, then you're helping them too when you hire that person. And that could change their life. And it can make a big difference in freeing up some of your time to do things that you really need to accomplish or to just give yourself a break, for heaven's sakes. And when you delegate jobs or tasks, you're leveraging your time and you're giving others an opportunity to learn and to be mentored. And when you put processes in place to take advantage of systems, or when you automate some of those daily tasks that you do by hand, then you're leveraging your time and you're getting the most value from your time. So that's what that's all about.
Wow. Okay, we've covered a lot of great information today. I know I've been tucking away all these nuggets as you've been talking all these wonderful things to keep in mind. What's the one key thing that you want people to leave with after listening to this interview?
Well, I hope if you will allow me, I've actually broken it down into 4 steps.
Awesome. Awesome. I love step-by-step processes.
Okay, so step one is you really need to define what delegation means to you. You need to take into consideration that life is constantly changing. And what you give up today, what you decide to delegate today, may not work, but it's not set in stone. You can change your mind. You can choose not to do that tomorrow or next week or next month, because over time your priorities are going to change. So don't believe that if you choose to delegate something that's how it has to be forever. That's not the case. The one constant is knowing that you're spending your time doing the right things, and that you're getting a feeling, a sense of accomplishment and happiness with the way you spend your time. Okay, so doing some tasks, for instance, like taxes or bookkeeping or yard work or banking or scheduling appointments, cleaning the house and shopping. Those are all things that some of us all have to do, but some of those activities just keep us busy, and we can learn to leverage our time with some of these tasks by stopping this habit of just being busy and becoming more productive with the value of our time by delegating some of these things to other people. So I want to point out that many of the women executives I work with have this very deep guilt and anxiety over letting other people do some things for them. Certain things like housekeeping and childcare. They just, or bookkeeping or banking or appointment scheduling, or, if you give up some of these things, it'll change your life. If you let someone else do these things for you, it will really change your life. It'll free up time for you to prioritize and to get focused and to become much more productive and to put yourself in balance. After I had a really bad car accident in the 1980s where I almost lost my life, my back would go into spasms whenever I tried to clean my apartment. And so I had no choice but to hire someone to do that for me. But I soon discovered the advantage of this. I didn't have to do a job I didn't really want to do.
Right.
I didn't really enjoy it. I could allow somebody else to do it for me, which freed up time to do other things. Spending that time doing things that I needed to do and I wanted to do was worth the value of my time. And it was a better use of my time. And I was helping to provide a job for somebody else that I had never even considered as an important point before. Plus, I never really enjoyed cleaning, and I kind of developed an allergy to it. So it gave me an excuse to hire someone else to do it. But, even after my back pain went away, I continued to have somebody else clean my house because I use it as a reward for myself for the time that I spend doing important things. And and I also realized that the state of my environment is so critical to me. It's so important for me to have a clean house and clean office, and it needs to smell fresh and clean just to sort of stay productive and to be creative. And it changes my whole outlook when I have a clean space. So that's one thing that I have learned to do, and that I recommend that people do in terms of setting the priorities for what you do and what you don't do. And another one is having accountants do my taxes. That's an example of something where I don't have the time to keep up to date with all the tax laws and changes. I'm not an expert there, but they are. So why should I spend my time doing something that somebody else is so much better at than I am? And my husband and I are both entrepreneurs, so what we pay our accountants is worth every penny. And then what we're doing is spending our time on our business, which is what we're supposed to be doing. And another example of delegating is when we were younger as a married couple, and when we had younger children, we would take a couple of hours one night every week, and we would go on a date night. And what that did was it freed up time for us to just focus on each other and to just kind of reconnect and not worry about the kids because we hired a babysitter to take care of them. And I really think that opportunity to spend time together as a couple is one of the reasons why we've been happily married for almost 25 years. It really made a difference in giving something to us. So the next time you're about to do a job or a task, I would just recommend that you ask yourself a couple of questions, and that is this activity really worth my time? Is it worth more or less than the value of my time? Is it the best way to leverage my time? Or is there something else that I could be doing with my time that would be a better use of my time? And it's important to make leveraging your time a priority in your life, because if you're not leveraging your time, if you're not spending time on things that are equal to or greater than the value of your time, then you'll always wonder how to find more time. And step 2 is to learn how to say no. And I know this is going to be hard for some people. I had to learn the hard way, and I'm still learning. It's not something that just happens and you're done. Managing time is a learned process. Anybody can learn how to do it. But it takes some practice and it takes some commitment. So saying no is important, even though nobody wants to say no to their boss or their spouse or their kids or their friends or their coworkers. But the fact of the matter is, you have to say no once in a while. Otherwise, you're letting other people control your time and your calendar, and that's not a good thing. We all have the same 24 hours in a day, and we can't possibly do everything that we want to do and everything that everybody else wants us to do, too. So a big part of delegating and leveraging your time is to cut down on unnecessary tasks and to protect your priorities by saying no once in a while. And when somebody asks you to do something, just ask yourself, is this going to give me a feeling of accomplishment and a feeling of happiness, genuine happiness? Or could I hand this over to somebody else and free up some of my time to do something that's more urgent, maybe more important to me, that's really worth my time? So step 3 is to track your time. And for this, it's really important because the only way to make better use of your time is to understand how you really spend your time, what's working and what isn't working. And there are far too many things going on in our lives today to keep everything in our head. So I recommend you keep track of your time, keep track of how you spend your time. And that means you write down how you spend your time, what you spend your time on. Everything from the meetings you attend to going to your kid's soccer game, to the phone calls you make, to how many times you go to the gym, to how many times you say yes to somebody else and do something for them. Tracking your time will help you see if you're spending your time on the most productive activities. And it'll also help you become more accountable for your time. And it will help you accomplish your professional and your personal goals. And it'll help you notice your accomplishments, which is really important. A lot of people forget to notice how much they actually do, what they accomplish with their time. And it's important to know that. And so then step 4 is to create some time for yourself every day. And you might think that's impossible, but it's not. It might be challenging on occasion, and sometimes, things will get in the way, but it's not impossible. You always make time for the things that are important to you. You make time for everybody else. Why not yourself? Make yourself a priority too. So commit to taking at least an hour a day just for you. Schedule that time in your calendar and just do it. And you can spend this hour exercising or reading a book or meditating or going for a walk or just taking time away from your desk. Anything that nourishes your body, your mind, your spirit. Because we are holistic beings. We're not just our minds. We are a physical being, a spiritual being, an emotional being, an intellectual being. And just 1 hour each day for yourself will help you reduce your stress. It'll help prevent burnout. And most importantly, it'll eliminate any resentment that you might have that's bubbling up that you may be holding on to.
I think that last one's probably the one that hits home most for me. Because when you finally get that and you start practicing that, oh my goodness, every aspect of your life improves.
Exactly.
And I just want to encourage people to not look at it as a selfish thing. It's not you being selfish, it's you being really intelligent. You need that. Your body needs that, your mind needs that, your spirit needs that time to refresh, unplug, and really recenter, if you will.
Exactly.
So you can be a better you in all areas of your life.
And you can be better for other people too.
Exactly. Now, Kathryn, I know that you and I had spoke before the call, and you'd mentioned that you have a free gift for our viewers. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, all the things, Susan, that I've mentioned today, all the tips, all the strategies, all the steps I've given to you today are in my book, Triple Your Time Today, on Amazon. But if you go to my website at Kathryn-McKinnon.com, that's Kathryn-McKinnon, and you sign up for my free gift, I'm going to send you an excerpt from my book. And it's a chapter on creating the right mindset with your time. It explains how to let go of some of these false ideas and beliefs that you have to control everything in your universe, everything in your world. It explains why that's not the case. And it's filled with productivity tips and time management techniques for managing your time with less stress. And this year is about letting go of things that burden you. Whether or not you delegate a task or an activity is your choice. How and when you choose to delegate is a skill you can learn and you can get really good at, because nobody was born knowing how to manage their time, but everybody can learn how to do it. So I encourage you and everyone else to give yourself the gift of more time and go to Kathryn-McKinnon.com and sign up for my free gift and really start to change the way you spend your time so you can live a more productive, balanced life.
Wonderful, Kathryn. That's so generous. I'm excited for our viewers to go take advantage of that, get their free chapters so that they'll want to go get the whole book on Amazon. And I think that probably your website's the best place, but is there another place where our viewers can connect with you, or is that going to be the best place for them to stay in touch with you after this interview?
Well, you can also go to support@Kathryn-McKinnon.com
Okay.
if people want to connect with me directly.
Okay.
And I'm also on LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter, and of course my radio show I have every week. So there are lots of ways you can connect with me, but those are the best ways.
Okay. Fabulous. Kathryn, thank you so much for joining us and sharing all of these amazing tips and tricks. And I look forward to hearing more from you very soon.
Thank you so much, Susan. I really appreciate your time.